Hi, my name's Ginger Cook, and I have an online art academy called the Ginger Cook Acrylic Online Academy of Fine Art Painting, all right? And what we teach in our academy is from very basic beginner, if you've never seen an acrylic paint tube in your life, clear up to advanced painting. And how we're able to do that and bring artists along is what we do is we give you the basics. We start you off with the basics so that you understand the ins and outs of making your acrylic paint work. Now, if you'll look at these paintings I have in front of me, some of the things that first we're going to show you the materials you need and so forth, but the very next thing we're going to show you is how to make brush strokes, how to do brush exercises and make your brush work. In other words, if you were to do something like this with the different brushes we have, just doodling, learning how to do this enables you to do this. All right, these fine brush strokes. I'm going to move this one out of the way. Look at the hairs on this dog. I mean, those are all the foundation for all of this type of painting, and it's in this video is not the actual painting of how to do the dog, but how to do the brush strokes so that you can later come along and find the video of the dog and do it. Now, for instance, even in this one, you'll see the fine lines. How do we get that? This back to basics is what you want to be able to paint like this, or for instance, do trees like this. I mean, how do you make them look round? Where's the shading? How do you do light? You've got to get the basics on all of this, and this is what we teach. For instance, look at the brush strokes that are in the hair of this child, taking pictures, called the photographer. This is one of the lessons on our website. You want to get the basic knowledge of acrylic paint. So that's the first thing we, teach you after learning how to do what materials you need. That's the first thing we teach you. And now we're going to go on and show you some of the other stuff. All right, so the other thing that's going to be in our video, and back to basics, that's absolutely must know how to do is blending. So that to make this apple look round, we show you how to take a circle and give it 3 dimension. Also, you'll notice these lemons, they're shaded in order to look round. How do you get fruit to look 3-dimensional, or anything really? Even this umbrella painting, you'll notice this, the blending. This is a key skill in learning how to paint. So we start you off with the cylinder. These are very fast exercises. Each video is around 15 minutes. And we'll show you how to take any color. It doesn't really matter what the colors are, but how to, draw on a cylinder, how to get an oval, and how to blend. What if you had a cone, all right? How to do that. Even just straight what we call gradation blending is something that we like to show you how to do, because this can be useful, because if you have a large painting like this, for instance, this sky is blended very much like this. So we show you the secrets of going from dark to light in what we call a gradation, all right? Here's another example of a sky that was done that way, a video that we have of a sky that was done that way. We show you the tricks on how to do that. Get the basic, back to basic skills. Here's another example of 2 blended skies and a water, the sky and the water, where this was all done using the techniques we show you how to perfect, the do's and don'ts, and how to perfect in this particular video. One of my favorites is this one. This is an actual Monet, and a lot in our academy we often visit some of what we call the old dead guys, the old dead, the artists that have come before us, and often do and learn a little bit about them and their paintings. This was originally a Monet, and it's a blended sky using 2 colors, a little bit of the blue and a little bit of pink. Do you see that? And then when I look at this, one of the things that we've noticed that new artists have trouble with is, maybe even making buildings. So we have a very simple video. Move some of this out of the way here. Very simple video on just a birdhouse. Now there's nothing, but there's a light source. Talking about a light source, that this has 3 different values, and we talk about whether contrast and lights and darks, because at some point we would like you to be able to paint something like this. And in order to be able to shade and do buildings and understand how to draw them in, learning the basics of any old building is built from that, from the idea of this rectangle and, and how to do a box. And so this is I think one of our key videos in the series is And you can take just a few minutes, and these are like piano exercises in the sense that you just paint something small like this little 6x8 canvas and get the back to basics down. And then we're going to go on to our next segment, which is, let me move some of this out of the way, is not just blending, okay, which is important, right? But now we want to use those blending skills and learn to do clouds. And let me show you what those paintings would look like. Clouds are a huge part of any painting. Let's do that again. Clouds are a huge part of any painting, whether it's a landscape, a seascape. You see, clouds are one of the things that artists have the most trouble with. Actually, some of the simplest things to do. Once you understand basic blending, we have a video on how to do clouds. And so that later, when you're coming along and maybe you join our academy and you're learning to do a painting like this, you notice that these clouds are in it, or look at these clouds and we added color. But knowing how to do a back to basic, just how do you do a cloud like this? And now you've learned learning your blending techniques, you can start to add color. But again, simple exercises in clouds. Here's one of my favorites. Simple clouds in the background, either wet on wet or dry. We show you which brushes are best to use for clouds. Here's a good example of just a back to basics tutorial on clouds that we have on our website. But in order to get to understand that, learn what your brushes do. That's what this series of videos is all about. It's not one big long 2 or 3 hour video. You can break it up into segments and chapters. Just take a moment, paint some clouds. Now, not every painting has these type of clouds. These are wonderful and fun and very dramatic to paint. But sometimes you just need, depending on the landscape, you need some simple clouds. Now, in this video we have in our Back to Basics series, I show you how to just take a sky and just suggest some clouds so that the landscape down below, in this case it's some mountains in Alaska with a little bit of glacier water, the sky doesn't compete with the entire landscape. Here's another example of a snow scene where we've got just some sweeping clouds. Now, we show you in this video, by doing this, you understand intrinsically how to do these others. When you come across videos like this, they won't seem so daunting. And then finally, one of the things we want to show you how to do is, before a couple more things, is blending, multiple blending. We showed you a little bit about just blending a cone or a cylinder, but now I'm going to show you about multiple layer blending, and that's going to really, really set the tone for our next this other series, okay? And this is an example of multiple layer background blending, and it has so many examples. Let me show you what those would be. Now, in most still life paintings and many portraits of animals, you'll see what we call multiple blended backgrounds. All right, how do you do that? In this video, we show you the secret of multiple layered backgrounds. If you'll notice, if you like these paintings, these are all tutorials on our Art Academy at gingercooklive.gallery that you're more than welcome to come visit and try. We have over 365 paintings that are just on acrylics, and we add new ones every week. So it's a wonderful academy. But we did this series of Back to Basics so that you could look at this and say, I think I could do it. I understand brush strokes and I understand how to do this kind of blending. This was a Vincent van Gogh painting, and notice that he employed this a lot, didn't he? This type of multi-blended background. You see that? This one was done originally by an artist that lived 100 years before Vincent van Gogh. And again, this style of blending is key to many still lifes. Here's another example of a blended background, changing brush direction. That's the other thing we talk about, is brush direction and the difference it makes. And one of my favorites that we have in the Academy is this one it's called Ode to Coffee. And can you see the blended background? It's not that different than what I did here, is it? It almost could be part of the same picture, couldn't it? You see that? So again, being able to do this type of background is key in learning acrylic painting. If you can get these basic things down, your brush strokes, You're, learning how to blend different shapes, learning about light source and what side of an object should be lighter and darker, and how to discover your light source, how to do multi-layer blending. And then finally, we have 2 videos that my friend John Little did. He's our executive producer and business partner in our academy. He did 2 videos that are one on varnishing your painting, how to varnish it correctly, because what do you use to varnish it, why do you want to varnish it, correct way to do it, and also how to clean your brushes, because we encourage you to get really nice brushes. We even give you a link to a place where you can get discounted brushes. And the thing of it is that you've got an investment in those. You've got to take care of it. So the last video is how to wash and really take care of your brushes. So I think this is a great set of instructions. We thought this was all in one place, that you could learn the techniques that you're going to need to really learn how to paint with acrylics, so that when you come over and you see a painting like this, and you look at all the buildings and the different shading on them, you're thinking, I understand about brush strokes, I understand about blending. Maybe this wouldn't be so difficult, because we've given you the basics. But without the basics, all of this becomes hard. So we're encouraging you to enjoy this series of videos, and I hope that you'll just spend a little time every day. Just pick one out, take 15 minutes, and learn a new skill. Thanks.